Welcome back to part 4 of embellishing a store-bought canvas. So last time we talked about adding the woven cross stitch along here, and I showed you how to do that stitch. I just continued with that along here. I really like that it kind of gives something to the space, like some substance to the space. Up here, I'm going to be working on adding sequins and beads. But right now what I want to show you is this that I've been doing over here, which is filling this area with the satin stitch. So I have a video for the satin stitch, which you can watch. I do different techniques for filling in an area this long. I used the Koigu needlepoint yarn, and I really like the variegated color, how it adds like some striping along there, because again, we have a lot of colors in this area. So what I'm going to do now, when you look very closely at these sections, you can still see there's like lines of like this black line that we were looking at and working on over here, and you can see it in the colored area up here. I'm going to be adding the black line to the satin stitched area. So because I had covered up this area with the satin stitching, you can't see originally what was here. Now there's two ways to handle that. Because I'm just doing like random lines, I can use the example of these areas and just see like the scribbles and kind of fill them in as I go along. And that's how I'm going to be handling it. Another way that you can do it, if you are filling in a section and you want to be able to stitch back something that was there, but it's underneath all the threads that you just did, you can take a picture of it, stitch it, and then go back to your picture and use that as a reference. And I do that a lot of times if I am covering up an area. If I'm maybe stitching a butterfly and I want to be able to stitch over the whole butterfly but then put pieces of it back, I'll take a picture of it and do that. So always do that as a reference if you are worried about covering up an area and want to be able to reference something. So with this, I am using the size 12. This is Wonderfil's Spaghetti, and it's just a solid 12 weight cotton. And I am also using these teeny tiny little black sequins. Now these sequins I picked up at Michael's. I always recommend this set of sequins. It's called a metallic glitter set. It's by Recollections, and you can find it in the scrapbooking section at Michael's. Excellent colors. They are flat sequins, and I love that you get 6 different colors in one container. I've gone through like maybe 2 or 3 of these. I've used them so much, and they are filled with sequins, so you get a lot for your money. So I am using these teeny tiny little black ones, and what I'm going to do is put a sequin on my needle. I've already threaded it and brought it up through the canvas. And then I'm going to be stitching back some lines. So you can see what I did here. I've stitched one, here's another one. I'm just going to be kind of overlapping them and taking them through the canvas. And then once that sequin is on there, you can move it wherever you want. So if I wanted the sequin to kind of go over this way more, you can move it. I can do another stitch here and overlap again. This is kind of the fun part because you're just stitching it the way you want it to look. And so it's kind of fun to just stitch like that. And I'll move that one. So I'm just going to continue filling up this whole area. So here it is, all stitched up. And I'm actually I really love how that looks. I'm going to carry that all the way through here, even though I have the little Austrian crystals throughout here. I'm still going to add a few. I'm going to just layer over this trellis stitch and add a few more sequins and a few more black lines just to make it all look cohesive. And I'm probably going to do it with the blue section here too. So adding those black stitches throughout here really joins this whole section together. And even though you have satin stitching, trellis stitching, we've got crystals and sequins. It all has become one cohesive section because of carrying one element throughout, and that was the straight stitches with the sequins. So this week is all about layering. Where can you look to layer pieces or sections of embroidery? Another fun idea to do would be to lay down your satin stitching like that, and then you can add trellis stitching on top of that, which might be, I don't know that I'm going to do it for this section, but that would be a really cool idea to do, like a lot of black satin stitching. I could even do the black and add some of this darker purple in to do a satin stitching over that, and then come back with like a gray or probably a variegated, like maybe darker purple sort of thread, and do the trellis stitch over that. And then on top of that, I could add more straight stitches just randomly with some sequins. Or like I did here, adding sequins inside, or not sequins, the crystals inside the little squares of the trellis stitch. So lots of ideas for this week. I am going to keep adding the black stitches to that. And if you are working on layering this week with me, happy stitching!